This video we're going to talk about actually making pages, creating content. We got a bunch of different templates and layouts and such. You know, we got this page, the way this looks, you know, the way the home page looks, or the gallery, or the blog, or whatever. So how do we choose our different layouts and settings? All right, pretty easy. What we want to do is come to the back end. Let's find pages. Let's just go ahead and look at the pages section. First thing I want to point out is if you just view the pages in general, it's going to show all your pages that you've made, you know, to date. Right now, we have, I don't know, 18 or 20 or so. Some of these are just tests. And as you start adding pages, you can actually see the list. It's going to paginate. Right now, we don't have any pagination. We have 19. I think WordPress, after 20, it's going to make a new page. So as you create more content, this number is going to grow and you'll have pagination to go to the next section. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new page. Click Add New, and let's give it a title. Wendy is, whoops, because I can never spell, and that's why I build websites. Wendy's freaking awesome. So we have our page title. Now we need our content, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just drop in some fake dummy content. And speaking of dropping in fake dummy content, copying and pasting, I strongly advise against copying and pasting from a Word document. It's going to cause problems, it's going to cause issues with layouts, it adds unnecessary styling, markup, and things like that that can cause your site to break. I recommend you either do plain text copy from Word or you actually physically type it in directly into the editor. Alright, let me go ahead and actually do another paste. Okay, so now I got some basic content. I'm going to save my draft. And let me go over the editor real quick. Right now, when you first show up into this section, more than likely it looks like, where is it? This is probably what you have. Okay, so if I click this little button right here, it's called the kitchen sink, I get my other options, more styling options basically. Alright, you can also work in HTML mode. If I click this, I see straight HTML, and then the buttons now turn to a different type of looking button, an actual text button. Kind of does the same thing, but you're also losing some of those click and point icons that we see in the visual editor, you know, such as the bold button or the paragraph button, your font color, and things like that. All right, so I got my draft saved. I can actually preview what it's going to look like. If I click the preview button, and any day now. So here we are. We got a basic page. We got the title and some basic text. So, you know, pretty standard. If we look at this one, you know, we got this box here. We got Wendy's picture over here on the right. We got some stuff down here. How are we getting that? Why does it look like that? Well, first thing we want to do is make sure that we're using the correct template. And if I come over in the page attributes section, I'll see template. And we're using default template. That's what we have right here. This, excuse me, the other one I showed you, not this one. The full width one is the default template. If I choose the drop down, I'll see the different kinds of pages. So let me choose About Alt. And let me actually publish this. Publish means it's now available to be seen live. It doesn't mean it gets automatically added to your menu. If I come up in here and I refresh, we don't see it, do we? It's not in here. Okay, and I'll cover that in another section. But just wanted to point that out. If you publish something, it doesn't mean it's automatically going to be on your site where people can find it. Alright, so I did the About Alt. I save this. Let me go ahead and view the page. I clicked the View Page button right here, so I could see that if you're wondering. Alright. Okay, we noticed a couple things. We noticed one, we have the hockey player here down at the bottom. That that's the alt. The alt one's adding the hockey player. That's why we have that. We notice we have the blue box now, and then we have this testimonial sitting right here. But we also noticed, hey, there's no picture. Oh man, we're missing a picture. Okay, so how do we get a picture in there? We don't have to use Wendy. We could use whoever. So what we want to do is put a picture in there, and we can do that by, I'm sorry, excuse me, by selecting featured image. Come in here. Let's see. You got all these giant pictures. I got to find one that's remotely decent size. 19. That's probably an improvement. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and click as featured image. I close out. Now I see this image is in the box. Update. Let's refresh. And hopefully we now will see an image in this box. And there we are. Okay, so that's how you do that. Down at the bottom we see we have a testimonial in there. And basically how we set that is we choose which testimonial we've made. So I have these generic ones in here. So if I change it to testimonial 1 and I update this thing, come back to the front end, refresh. I thought I hit refresh, did I? Okay. Now we see we have a different one. Okay, so that's it for that particular template section. And the difference, just to remind you, the page about alt and the actual about is minus that hockey player in the bottom. So if you remember in the design, we had one with a hockey player down here and one without. So you could choose whether you want to have them in there or not. Now, let me mention, when you look at this list and we have all these page templates, you really are only going to work with these three: about, alt, about, and default. These other ones are specific to the blog, specific for your forums, specific for your gallery. You're not going to be making, sorry, in the sidebar, which I will go over in a separate video. You're not going to be making a separate forum page. I mean, you might, or you're not going to have two blogs. So a lot of these you're not going to be using unless you happen to have multiple forums and you know how to set that up. For the most part, you'll be using default template, about alt, and then page with sidebar. Okay, so you're just going to choose which one you want. So if I come in here and I make this thing a default template, all right, and then come to the front end, hopefully. So I apologize, I'm not sure why this thing's running so slow. Maybe it's the time of day. Refresh this. I will now lose the formatting and style and layout of that about template. We're now going to have the full width, which you can do other and different things for. Okay, so I mean a couple other real quick things, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do another tutorial for you. I actually close this one out to do another one. We can insert pictures with this thing. We can bold text. We do some other stuff. So, for instance, we can work with titles. So let's give it a title here. I strongly recommend consistency. We have heading tags. So if you're going to use a heading, an H3 tag, use that for all your pages. Don't have an H3, and an H4, and then an H5, and scatter that way. There's no consistency with your site. Okay, let me do that. We can highlight some words, and just like doing an email, make it italic, make it bold. All right. We can insert pictures and float text around it. Go grab something out of this media library. Do Wendy, I'll click show. All right, and then I can do the full size that it is now. I can actually choose a smaller size. I can wrap it, float it left or right or center. I'm gonna go ahead and do it right at full size. Now we're not going to use this featured image. We've already have that. We're going to use insert into post. There's our image. Update this thing. Now I should have some style text, the title, and then this new image. I guess when everything's running a little slow is not the best time to be doing these videos. All right, so here's our title, here's our dark text, here's the picture floated. So we can do a couple things to actually keep these pages interesting and fun. We can also do short codes, and I'm actually going to separate one just to go over these little things right here because they're pretty fun and pretty cool. And this video is getting long into that 10 minutes. You know, people start falling asleep and drooling on themselves after 3 minutes. So that'll do it.